Hello and welcome to Circle of Wisdom, starring Tarot Master Christopher OneFeather. Circle of Wisdom is a webcam talk show series where we reveal the mysteries of tarot divination and the mysteries of the unseen eye. My name is Iwona White. I'm an Archangel reader and Aura-Soma practitioner, and I'm your co-host today with our host, a long-standing contributor to the Lightworker community, Christopher OneFeather.
Greetings all, and how are things in Vienna, Iwona?
Oh, we have a very, very strange and, I don't know, let's say spooky weather here. It's very gray and it's raining every 30 minutes, but it's also warm, so it's very, very in between. It's very twilight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the humidity, I imagine, is up, and it's basically duplicating what we have here in the Midwest, so that's very interesting.
Yay, Gemini season, mirroring each other.
Well, and the best part is that for the Native Americans in this region, this was the entry into the strawberry picking season. So over the next couple of weeks, strawberries will be appearing on the vine, and that's also a welcome event for regeneration after a long winter. Strawberries are very rich in the type of nutrition that we need to strengthen the immune system and process the sunlight that we're absorbing from our environment. And so yes, it's a wonderful, wonderful time of the year.
And they are sweet, and they get along very well with champagne and sparkling wine.
That's very true, yes. And I am fond of champagne, but it's really interesting how the great champagne vineyards have gone through so many mutations, and some of the American vineyards bought out some of the French vineyards, so it has been an interesting journey for those of us who love sparkling wines.
It's so funny because, tomorrow I'll have a very, very big party at my house, and we'll have very interesting creations like sparkling wine with lavender and sparkling wine with lychee fruits and with special herbs in it. So we'll have a very, very interesting, how do you call that, variety of champagne cocktails tomorrow.
Well, that sounds like a wonderful gala, and I am assuming that that is in celebration of your birthday.
Yay, it is.
And without further ado, we will be pulling a card for Iwona's next year. Actually, we'll pull it just for the next 6 months, because you'll have your birthday, your second birthday, when the sun crosses your ascendant in Scorpio time. But for the interim, we have the 10 of Cups, enrichment, fulfillment. This bodes extremely well for not only you, but your family and your circle of friends and people that you have, deep emotional bonds with. It's kind of like the 9 of Cups, which is a more personal wish fulfillment card, but this is kind of a group wish fulfillment card. So you're going to have a wonderful year of things arriving in marvelous ways. Yes, and don't forget to do a little Italian twist to your sparkling wines there. Add a little spumante from those regions of northern Italy that produce such magnificent bubbling wines.
Yes, they do. The frizzante, for instance. And it's so funny that you mention it, because tomorrow it will be actually a very big party. I will have like more than 30 people in my little apartment. And it will be people from Italy, people from England, people from America even. So it will be very funny, I guess. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's a real Gemini party.
That sounds very eclectic, and I think everybody is going to have a grand time, because, this was a kind of a rough ride with this new moon. I think a lot of people, when we were really in the dark of the moon, had a lot of fear and doubt come up that they were having to deal with. When the moon was at that final stage of Taurus, it was bringing up a lot of attachment issues and things that we cling to, and even our illnesses. You know, a lot of times the reason that we don't heal is because on some level we believe that we're getting something out of being sick. And I think a lot of people had to confront some of their personal demons over this last week-long period as the moon was moving toward Gemini, and of course we've got Mercury advancing into Cancer. We've got a lot of accelerated movement now, so things should be getting a lot lighter.
Absolutely, absolutely. I also experienced it myself. So the thing is, Master OneFeather, how would you describe those these energies that are now unfolding right now? The new moon in Gemini. How would you describe it?
You know, I think Gemini is the great communicator, so it's definitely going to bring us to new heights as far as our power to communicate. And of course, with you, it's very much performance-oriented. You know, you will be on stage and communicating these great dramas, these operatic experiences. So, yeah, it definitely is performance-oriented and technology-oriented, communication-oriented, and money is going to start showing up too. So,
but that's good news.
It is, yes. It's like that old song in there was a country western song here in America back in the 30s and 40s. I think it was Chet Atkins or one of those guys. He used to sing about if you got the money, honey, I got the time.
That's awesome. Time is money, and as you just said, it's all about performance. And I myself was now the last few days, as you know, we are rehearsing every day for La Traviata. So it's one of your favorite operas, I guess, Master OneFeather.
Absolutely, yes. I love a variety of operas, but I think, you know, I think probably the one I like the most is, of course, Bizet. I go back and reference Carmen over and over again.
Okay.
But I love Puccini, and I love Wagner, and I love the drama of the great themes of life and the great challenges of life that opera presents to us in such a grand fashion.
Absolutely, and so we came back again to French and to the French champagne, and in Traviata we also have the song Libiamo, the famous one where they are drinking, this drinking song, da 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 da. You know, you remember.
Absolutely,
it's all about sparkle and Gemini again. So, Master OneFeather, would you mind to pull a card for this new moon today?
Well, our official card for the launch of this new moon experience, interestingly enough, is the Temperance card. And of course we can, you know, here we go back once again to the more archaic interpretation, and in the ancient past, in the early stages of the tarot's evolution, this was seen as a soulmate card. And, you know, more contemporary interpretations go along the line of working on balance and temperance and moderation. And, of course, the imagery gives us this image or this idea of a guardian angel. So,
wow.
Yeah, there's definitely that need to resolve duality. And, of course, Gemini puts a huge amount of attention on the fact that within all of us there are the two personas in residence, the conscious, the unconscious, the masculine, the feminine, and all of these are part of that journey forward.
Oh, beautiful. It's again such a synchronicity, Master OneFeather, because as we know, today's card number 5, which is called Hierophant, and we were just talking that this card actually didn't always show the Hierophant. So we were just talking about us finding the other half, or overcoming duality, or better to say, even where did the human soul even start? It didn't start in duality. It started in the wholeness of one. And this was also symbolized by the divine hermaphrodite, as you told me. So could you tell us more about that?
Well, Yeah, right now we've arrived at a point where the current vision is the Pope or the Hierophant. And in my book, the way I approach it is the Pope represents all the stubborn traits and mindless adherence to outworn ideas that human consciousness seems to need to bog itself down with. Hidden under the robes of cloaked spirituality, this card sets loose a rich pageantry of images about our obsession with putting limits and boundaries on the Spirit of God that resides within us. If we truly have come to realize ourselves to be the expression of divinity that we actually are, we must also embrace the idea of our own empowerment and invulnerability. So that's, my current, I guess you'd say, interpretation of the card. But if we go back historically, you'll find that there were threads in the early evolution of the tarot that led us to the idea of the divine hermaphrodite, the idea of both genders being resolved and brought into, that unified state of being. And within that, the idea comes forth of the concept of empowerment through being able to give birth spontaneously. We don't have to seek out the other half. We don't have to find, the masculine counterpart or the feminine counterpart, because both reside within.
Wonderful. So it's again a Gemini topic, actually.
Yes, it very much is dealing with that idea of the major part of the journey.
Absolutely.
Being a return to the truth of our physical identity as well as our spiritual identity.
Master OneFeather, I'm sure you know this story that Plato, this famous Greek philosopher, told that once upon a time mankind was not divided in male and female, but all human beings were shaped like spheres, and then they were divided in two, and since then we are searching for the other half, or the twin, or the male is searching for the female. So I'm sure you know this this beautiful story of Plato's, no?
Mm-hmm. And he gave us a lot of different imagery, and he was actually beyond being a philosopher and one of the great metaphysical thinkers in the early stages of spiritual evolution, but he was really a brilliant psychologist, and if anybody has spent any time studying psychology, one of the first things you do is you go back and look at some of Plato's imagery around how we're all living in a cave and having to deal with our shadow selves. So yeah, this thread goes across 5,000 years, actually. We can trace it all the way back into Mesopotamia and Persia, etc., etc. But it all is a part of the awakening to our divine truth.
So as we know, there is also a term that was, of course, shaped from all of this. It's a platonic relationship. So is this also something the Hierophant could symbolize? And could it be like the perfect relationship where there are no desires, but there's only higher love? Could we see it like that as well?
Well, you absolutely could, because obviously within that unified state of being, there would be no desire, because you would be fully self-realized. You would recognize both elements within yourself, and so there wouldn't be a sense of, oh, something's missing and I need it, so that creates a desire, and then I pursue the desire. So it's a journey into self-recognition, and the most recent person who has really championed that vision was Paramahansa Yogananda, who came over to the United States in the 30s and 40s and and created the Self-Realization Fellowship. And that really is what the entire concept was all about, was the idea of self-realization, who your true self is, and how you can realize that deeper sense of self, that deeper sense of I amness.
Absolutely. So at the end, only if you recognize yourself and understand yourself, then you can love yourself. And if you can love yourself, you can love somebody else. And that's maybe also why the Hierophant very often symbolizes marriage in a reading, no?
Oh, yes, it definitely can come through as a card associated with marriage, because the undercurrent there is the idea of divine union. And, the sacredness of divine union was picked up and given definition by the church, and of course that goes back to the idea of the Pope and the dogma associated with divine union, and the obligations of marriage, and ultimately the obligations to God, which is to be a productive little worker bee down here in our honeybee land.
But Master OneFeather, you are the right person to ask this. I heard very often that the Hierophant is a card that only people with really deep and profound understanding in metaphysics and higher realms can really understand, because it has a message that exceeds everything we can understand on Earth. What would you say about that?
Well, I think that's true again with everything in life, but with the mundane aspect of the Hierophant, which is generally how it comes up in most readings, it goes back to that concept of dogmatic adherence to ideas that were put into place in the past for the specific, concept of controlling the masses, controlling our thinking, and ultimately creating a sense of bondage or slavery to either government or church or both.
Okay. So, so that means that this card can be read in a mundane and in a very spiritual way, then.
Absolutely, yeah, and it depends on your client. I often have readings where I'm saying one thing in a client because of where they are in their own personal evolution. They're stuck, and they'll hear what I'm saying in their own way, and that again is the challenge of living in this realm, is that we're given the tools to work with, but language is still merely a bunch of symbols that represent deeper visions and deeper ideas, and that's how we're struggling to reclaim our unity, to become transparent, so that there are no secret thoughts, so there are no barriers between minds.
Thank you very much, Master OneFeather. That's very fascinating information about this card. And you can all learn more about every tarot card in the major arcana by purchasing and downloading Master OneFeather's ebook, and he just also read a passage out of it, the Metaphysical Tarot Workbook. It's available at soulmart.me, and there you can also find links to this book, as well as the link to the show, and links where you can also book a reading with Master OneFeather. And as we are already talking about the readings, Master OneFeather, it's so funny. Oh, is she not here anymore? Because I just saw Melody here, and she wrote something very interesting that I also already saw. Actually, in the, when we see you on screen, Master OneFeather, it looks like your crown chakra is enlightened. It's like a little halo over your head, so it's really interesting there.
Yes, it was not premeditated. I think it is, in fact, an effect of the fact that I have my ceiling fan on. But
it looks like you have absolute access and your channel is open. It's like a little diamond flickering up there.
Well, I would hope that that is, in fact, the case, but... illusions and delusions are not that big a step between the two, so...
But it's definitely a very nice special effect, Master OneFeather, I have to say.
Well, thank you. And now we've got some questions starting to come in.
Exactly. We would like to start, because Melody is not here anymore, I wanted to start with her, and maybe she hops on again. Meanwhile, we will start with Wendy Mason. She's a Virgo, and she would like to have a general call, please.
Well, all these earthy people right now are having to lighten up. They're having to get airy again, and so we'll see what. Well, now look at that. Synchronicity strikes again. The Queen of Pentacles. So, Wendy, it's all about fertility, pregnancy, giving birth to new ideas, to new concepts. I would say as we advance past May and into June, you're really going to be able to feel inspired and to cultivate that capacity to bring new ideas forth into the realm you inhabit, to create new projects. Again, this is very earthy energy, and we connect the earth to, the tides, the rise and fall of the moon, etc. So a little bit hormonal. You're going to be noticing those peaks and valleys that most women are prone to, but nonetheless, a very, very creative period that you're stepping into. So I hope you pick up a paintbrush or write down a melody or do something with that creative flow that's on the horizon.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Master OneFeather. And then we have a fellow Gemini sister. It's Nadia Piper. She would also like a general card, please.
Well, for Nadia, interesting. You need to get out of the lowlands. You need to climb to a higher plateau. You have wisdom. You have insight to share. But your surroundings right now are somewhat mundane. And so you need to gain a little altitude. Find a new circle to interact with. And I think that your illumination, your insights, the things that you'd like to share from the depths of the soul will be more appreciated. So I would say you're moving into a period of transformation and doing a little searching out of new places to hang out, new people to interact with.
Very good to hear. So I'm sure she likes that. As a Gemini, she wants to connect with people. And we have another Earth person here, a Taurus, Lisa Lian. She would also like a card about her life now.
Well, at this precise millisecond, restless energy, the Knight of Rods. So time to move on, time to advance. You're, one of the things that a lot of the Earth signs do is that they vacillate. They'll hold back a little bit. And this card is saying, no, it's time to take action. You need to initiate new things. You need to talk to new people. Perhaps look around for some kind of a new career opportunity, because timing is everything. And right now, with the acceleration of Gemini, you need to advance. Don't hesitate. Don't think about things. Go for it.
Let it flow. Wonderful. And then we have a Cancer person. It's Megan. She would like a question for June.
Well, the overall energy for this coming month will be moving through Gemini and then advancing into Cancer. And we are being called upon to expand our vision and expand our horizons. This is the World card, and it basically is saying you need to recognize there's a bigger universe around you, and you're only seeing this tiny, tiny spectrum of what's available. So get rid of the blinders and, expand your vision. There is definitely there's going to be, some real significant shifts once we see Jupiter getting into the latter degrees of Cancer, and we'll have the Sun in Cancer, we'll have Jupiter in Cancer, we'll be having a lot of juice in trying to Saturn over in Scorpio, you know, a lot of intense energy in the latter part of June and then July. So if you are living in this tiny little universe, you're probably going to have your boat rocked quite a bit. You know, it's time for you to get out of the harbor and advance into the ocean of the unexperienced.
Wonderful. I love the world card. Every time it shows up, it makes a very good feeling, I think. So that's a good message. The next person we have here is Nancy Louise. She's a Leo sun, and she's having a specific question. She's saying she has no energy or desire to even think or hope for any good manifesting. What is going on?
Well, for Leos right now, you're in that, you know, this is the Wheel of Fortune, and you know, it's everything in life is cyclic, and when we're on the top of the cycle, we're feeling exuberant and we're feeling energized, and we carry that energy when we're in the descending part of the cycle, and we're not really aware of the fact that we're headed in a downward direction, you know. But it's like a wave. You have that churning motion. And so a lot of Leo people, I've noticed, have been moving on that lower half of that wheel, and now they're on the rise again. Well, there's a certain amount of struggle within that, and there's a little listlessness. But I think that as the Sun makes its passage through Cancer and it energizes Jupiter flops into Leo, I think that's going to be the big release point. So right now, give yourself permission to just lay around, you know, take a couple of baths a day. I know my Leos are all about bathing and showering. You know, it seems like it's really invigorating, and it you know, it's very healing, it's very balming. So, and now they're on the rise again. Well, and we've got, there we go. So we've got, you know, this wheel that is kind of spinning us into this new shift, this new frequency coming up. We've got Mercury continuing to pick up speed, and then it's going to go retrograde here in another week. We've got a lot of planets that are kind of spread out around the wheel right now, and they're all shooting their energy in different directions. And so there's been an exhausting cycle that we've gone through, and a number of us do need to, you know, regenerate.
Yeah, but I'm sure Leos will have a blast and a beautiful time when Jupiter goes into Leo. No, I'm sure about that.
It's gonna be a good time for not only for Leos but for Aquarians. I think a lot of Aquarians have been kind of feeling like they were bogged down, and you know, because of that movement of Saturn and Scorpio squaring Aquarius, and I think that movement of Jupiter into Leo is going to have a liberating effect. It's going to shoot some juice in that upward direction toward Aquarius and open some doors for them too.
Oh, that's a very good news. So, next person we have here is again an Earth person, a Capricorn. It's Wanda, and she's considering absolutely new directions in almost every way, and she would like to have a future direction card.
Well, the Lovers, and we're not talking about, you know, going out and doing something rash or impromptu that could get you into trouble. The idea of the Lovers is magnetic attraction. So whatever it is that you feel a compulsion to explore, pay deeper attention to magnetism and how certain things attract you and other things repel you. Really get into that space of not allowing the mind to create chaos by analyzing what your feelings are, but allow yourself to feel all these different elements around you in a very visceral way, in a very physical way. So if you will go with your emotional responses to the things that appear on the horizon, I think you'll have a really exciting journey, because Pluto has been doing a lot of, deep digging. It has been doing its transformative dance through Capricorn, and it's forcing Capricorns especially, and Cancerian people, to look very deeply within and do some purging, release some old patterns, release some old wounds. So follow your heart and follow your emotions. Stop thinking about it and just go with it.
Thank you so much, Dr. OneFeather. That's also totally a new moon theme, to let go, to purge, to clean, and to let everything begin again. Wonderful, thank you.
Absolutely.
Next person is Aluna Chrysalis. She would like to have a card pulled, and she's a Virgo Sun, Aquarius Moon, Sag Rising. It seems the Earth signs need a lot of counseling today.
Yes, well, she's been on kind of a holding pattern, and it's going to stick around for a little bit longer here. We've got the Hanged Man. I think that she will feel some really strong, new, resurgent, rejuvenating energy as we move into July. But I think between now and then, she really needs to work on foundation. She needs to refine her diet. She's not been doing things that are necessarily the best for her, is what I'm picking up intuitively. And she needs to, do the Virgo stuff, which is, do the bookkeeping, catch up on unpaid parking tickets, the minutiae of life. She's been prevaricating a little bit about what it is that needs to be done. And so as soon as she gets back on track with that sort of thing, I think she'll find that her life will start to move in an upward curve.
Very good, very good. So now we have the first fire sign today. It's an Aries. It's Suzanne Pfister, and she would like to know where she should focus her energy. And she says she loves the show, Master OneFeather.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. And, oh, interesting. And I'm seeing this, with all three fire signs, especially Aries, because Uranus is, doing its little happy dance in Aries. And Uranus is very spontaneous. It's the trickster, It loves to force us to look at alternative aspects of our lives. And she has been carrying around a lot of old stuff. This is, the old burdens of life, the emotional attachments, the guilt trips, all of this stuff that, we load ourselves up on. And the universe is asking her to let go of all that right now. So for the next 25, 30 days, she really needs to cut her cords to any guilt from the past, any attachments to obligation, and really work on consolidating her energy and doing a lot of inner forgiveness work, and then being able to extend that into her circle of friends and loved ones, so that she can really have a fresh start before the Sun and Jupiter both move into Leo, which will trine her Sun in Aries.
Wow. So today is really like the typical new moon day for everybody, letting go and starting fresh, and it's the perfect day to do all of this, Master OneFeather. It's
Absolutely,
again so aligning. Mm-hmm. So we have Chris Kuhn, and she would like to have a general card for today.
Well, for Chris, let's see what's going on in the deck here. First thing I would mention, we've got the Emperor card. First thing I would mention is it's maybe a good time for her to look around situations in her life and identify things that have created a sense of anger. Suppressed anger is a thing that really can burden us, and it can eat away at us on a deep level. And this card would indicate to me that she does have some anger issues that she hasn't fully resolved, and so she needs to have discussions with people to work on the idea of releasing or venting that anger. And as she's able to do that, I see her moving into a period here of much higher vibration. She'll feel lighter. She'll feel physically lighter. She'll want to get up and dance. You know, and right now she may be thinking, no, I just want to go lay in the bathtub. And so I think when we release those blocked areas where there's residual anger, we really energize ourselves, and I think that's the big theme for her, journey right now.
So maybe maybe she has to join us, drink some sparkling wine, and listen to some Traviata.
Yes, that would be very good. That and.
Okay, Master OneFeather. We have Savannah Gilbo here, and she has 2 potential job offers on the table. So what should she do?
Well, for the first one, we'll call it Job A. You know, it's a good offer, but I don't see it as being a door opener for advancement. I think that it would be a situation where you would be able to maintain a balance. You would have money coming in, money going out, but I don't see it as being something that's terribly exciting or inspiring. For Job B, ooh, look at this, the 6 of Swords, smooth sailing, advancing. So Job B, I don't know exactly how you're going to, well, obviously, however you've associated them, either the first one you had an offer from and then the second, but anyway, it looks like the second of the 2 is really the one that does offer a much greater potential for advancement and development and expansion. So, and I would love to have feedback too from people. You know, as I'm babbling here, if I have given you some insight, and it seems to be on point, definitely give us a little feedback around that too, because I also like to get the validation that my intuition is on target.
Absolutely, Master OneFeather. And people can also come down to soulmark.me and even write reviews for you if they had a mini reading here on the show, or if they had a reading with you in person, because of course also other people would like to know how accurate and on spot you are. I can only confirm that. So please, people, come down to soulmark.me and check out Master OneFeather's book, or the possibility to book a reading, or to come on the show and book even a space on our show for a mini reading. So this is all available on soulmark.me. So absolutely. And we have a feedback here actually from Nancy Louise, and she's just saying thank you so much, and thank you for permission on being a blob. So Master OneFeather, she's just thanking you for today's cards.
Well, that is wonderful to hear.
And then we have Jessica Lynn Grasso here. She would love to have a card for her true life purpose, please, Master OneFeather.
Oh, well, now we're going to get heavy. And, this is an interesting card that the universe gave us right now. This is a King of Cups. And your life purpose is that 4th chakra, that heart chakra. Being able to love and appreciate every human you encounter, every animal you encounter, every blade of grass you encounter, all of the ways that life is manifest in our surroundings. If you can, in fact, be in touch with your communion and your connection to the bigger life that we are participating in, I think that is really the life mission, not only for you individually, but for all of us. Because, really that is the answer to all of the problems that humanity is dealing with. As soon as we actually begin to respect and honor and love and appreciate the presence of life, then we would be less inclined to be destructive and embittered and angry and warful, W-A-R-F-U-L, people.
Absolutely. So that's a beautiful message. So let's take this easy breezy energy of Gemini and let our hearts be more wide and more open for it, and share the love with each other. So that's really beautiful, Master OneFeather. Thank you for this beautiful message. We have somebody here that has also a very deep question. She's saying, it's Ruth, she's a Cancer, and she's saying she has been single by choice for nearly 9 years, but now she would like to know, will she finally meet the man she should marry?
Well, you know, that journey that she's been on has turned into a way of life and a way of thinking. And so you're going to have to do something dramatic to get yourself out of that rut. It's like if you go in a circle long enough, you're going to wear the earth down to the point where you're walking in a trench instead of just in a circle. And you know, whatever it was that caused you to create this resistance to the idea of a positive and healing and supportive relationship, it's still present, and you need to remove that concept from your consciousness so that you can actually climb up out of that rut. There is, you know, a big cathartic experience on the horizon. This is the Tower card. You are about ready to. No, it's not a bad. It's not a bad thing. The Tower card comes up here as you've got a wall in front of you, and the only way you're going to get past that wall is you've got to use a couple of sticks of dynamite. So you're going to blow. You know, you're going to bust your way through from this old pattern, this old routine. 7 years, I think, is very telling too, because I really get a strong sense of associating that timeline with a movement of Saturn, and that's a quarter of Saturn's progress around the wheel. So, you know, this has been a part of a Saturn square, I would say, somewhere in her chart. The real thing is vulnerability, being able to let yourself, you know, just open your heart and experience love. And as soon as you are able to access that place within, you're going to be surprised at how many people do show up, because you're going to have to do a little editing and figure out, do I want what's behind curtain A, curtain B, or curtain C?
Absolutely wonderful. I can just confirm, Master OneFeather, I can just confirm again, you also pulled the Tower for me months ago, and I just had this Tower moment, and it was totally necessary to being reborn. And now I'm a new person. I'm very happy about this Tower happening to me. So I can only confirm what you just said. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Yes, and you know, a lot of times we have cards that come up that give us a sense of dread. You know, oh my God, that's ominous. I'm about to be struck by lightning in the middle of the golf course. And it's like, no, 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 no. What is happening is that some part of you has finally reached that climatic point where you are going to, you know, take a shovel or a hammer or something and beat down whatever it is that's been holding you back in life.
Yes, absolutely. I can agree. So, Master OneFeather, we also have Teresa Thompson here, a Libra, and she would like a card pulled about what positive things are coming to her.
Well, Teresa, the rest of May shows a few small obstacles, and you're going to be able to easily surmount those, but June is going to be a big launch month for you. I get you know, right around the 10th of June is when a lot of things that you've been trying to line up, a lot of you know, these elements that you've been trying to put into the right order, they're all going to fall into place, and that's when you're going to really see things advance. That's when doors are going to open, and I get two very important new connections coming up in mid-June for you that could really propel you forward in, you know, into that vision of what it is that you really want to accomplish at this stage of your life.
Very good. So we have 2 more people left, Master OneFeather. It's Judy Lesner. She would like a card for today as well, please.
Okay, for Judy, we have trust. Just take a leap of faith. Again, you know, if we hold back and demand security out of the universe is probably going to go away chuckling, saying, yeah, our security, right. You have to take the leap of faith. You have to be willing to go into that space of free fall, embrace the moment, embrace your life, and then you'll discover something amazing is going to open up. So yeah, take a chance, and you're going to have some fun.
Beautiful. And then we have one more Libra today. It's Victoria Rose. She's saying she's feeling great and looking forward to June, and she loves your show. So she's just answering to your card that you just pulled. So another very good feedback, Master OneFeather.
That's wonderful, and I do thank you, Victoria.
Yeah, and we have a lot of people also writing here in the chat room all the time, but it's impossible to read all of them. It's Judy Lesner thanking you, Nancy Louise, and all of them are very, very happy about today's cards, Master OneFeather.
Well, that's great. Yeah, you know, I mean, we are feeling that advanced surge of energy. So I think that Gemini time is going to be a lot lighter, a lot more magical, a lot more spontaneous, and we can have you know, a lot of fun. That's the important thing.
Absolutely. And I'm just seeing here that we have one more Leo person. Would you like to pull one more card, Master OneFeather, for Rhiannon? She would like to know about a possible new job she found yesterday.
We have a very literal response from the cards, the Chariot.
Wow.
So advance, move forward, don't hesitate. It looks like something has come into being there that will advance you and give you, you know, new opportunities, new portals to enter into. So I think it'll be very, very good if you do make the change.
Beautiful message. Thank you so much, Master OneFeather. So thank you so much for your precious time for this week and sharing your circle of wisdom with us. That's all the time we have this week, and it was a very busy show. It was a lot of people today, so I'm asking people that really are interested in a mini reading on our show to reserve a seat on soulmart.me, or you can also visit Master OneFeather's link there, and you can buy his book, the Metaphysical Tarot Workbook, or you can book a one-on-one reading with Master OneFeather as well. So, Master OneFeather, would you like to pull a card for the moon advancing out of the black light and coming to the surface again?
Well, very interesting concept. This is, yeah, this is kind of fun. We have the Knight of Swords, and yeah, within that, the power of the mind. I think that you know, sometimes we get obsessed with our ability to use the mind, and we fail to recognize the immense power of the mind. And when you're sitting around thinking all of this silly babble, the mind is a generator. It's making stuff happen. It is manifesting. So if you've got 30 thoughts going through your mind a minute, you've got all of this energy being put into motion. And really the idea right now as we're advancing in this time of Gemini, which is all about the mind, is we need to have a little more reverence for the power of the mind too, and bring the mind to that point of stillness, give the mind structure, give the mind a sense of discipline. And I think that's when we're going to see some really exciting things, you know, manifest in our lives.
Wonderful. As a Gemini, I'm thrilled about this message, of course. So we should really, really realize that we're powerful manifestors and that everything we think can become reality. So thank you very much, Master OneFeather, for this beautiful message.
Absolutely.
We are thanking you all for joining us on the Circle of Wisdom with Master OneFeather. I'm Archangel Rita Iwona, and I hope to be able to see you next week again with Master OneFeather here next Wednesday, 3 p.m. United States Eastern Time. And Master OneFeather, do you have a parting wish today for us?
Absolutely, and within that idea of the duality, the dualistic nature of Gemini, you know, if you're able to love yourself, then you will be able to love others. So it's very, very important that that your sense of love starts at ground zero. It starts at home, and then you can spread it out to the world around you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Master OneFeather. I couldn't imagine a better message today. So thank you so much for being here, and live, love, be.
Bye.